All right, so today I get the pleasure of interviewing Mr. Jason over here about just being first time, as far as being first time with using the cameras. I want to create some content for my family while I'm on vacation. I want to know, what do I do? What do I use? Because there's so much out there and there's so many different cameras, but I'm a newbie. I have my iPhone and that's about it. So
Oh
what am I
man.
doing with that?
So all right. So
Tell me like it's me, because I'm the one who's like, where do I press? So
okay. So that's funny. It's a funny question because I get that a lot, even when I'm in the field or we're together on vacation with the kids, and people ask me like, "Why are you using that? What is that? What can you name what that is?" And I have several things I could let you guys know from this interview, the things that we use for our own family channel. So you said, okay, you have your
you're gonna
iPhone.
take this through steps, right?
Yeah, I'll
So
take it
we're
through
gonna start
steps.
through basic. Like,
Absolute
this is
basic.
for the
Yeah.
person who out there who just has an iPhone and that's it. You
Yes.
don't want to invest in anything else. This is the first one. Then he's gonna move up and you'll tell us like,
Yeah,
okay,
get a little bit more
when you get more
advanced.
technical,
Yeah.
like you feel good with your iPhone, now we're gonna move to this one.
Okay. All
And
right.
then we'll move to the Mac Daddy.
Ugh.
Okay?
There's plenty of them. So all right. So starting off on an iPhone, say if you have a family trip and you want to go out and you want to capture content for your family trip. So a lot of times we go out and we immediately pull out our phones and we just start capturing everything without any rhyme or reason of why we're doing it. Okay. So the first thing I always say is like, okay, if you want to post this stuff, like, where are you? Like, meaning, where are you online? If you're just on Facebook, you want to share with the family, that's fine. If you're just on Instagram or if you're just on TikTok, just figure out where you are, because that will help
Like, what
you.
platform?
What platform that you are. I'm sorry, that platform that you are, because that will help you figure out the way you need to capture it, because it's so frustrating later when you have this footage or you have these images and you have to crop it, meaning you have to fit it into the box for the certain platform that you're on. So that's the first thing. So let's just
Like,
say,
so if I'm on Facebook, what's the difference between that and TikTok, let's
okay,
say?
so that's good. Yeah, so Facebook, you could get away with both formats. You could get away, I'm just going to hold my phone this way. You could get away holding your phone this way, which is a vertical format, or this way, which is a landscape or horizontal format, because Facebook takes both. It takes both videos and photos that way. So you may notice you open up Facebook, and I don't know who we're talking to here. Hopefully we're probably talking somewhere around our generation. You open up Facebook and you see, oh my God, that's such a beautiful landscape photo. It's like, I can see all the hills and I can see the people over here. That's a landscape photo. That's the photo that looks like a rectangle. And that's where you're taking your phone that looks just like this. You don't have to do anything at all, but just take the photo, edit it a little bit, and then put it up. That's all you have to do. So if you're on Facebook, you could do the same thing for video, same way. All right. And also you could take it this way, because Facebook will automatically convert it that way for you. So now you're on your iPhone. Okay. Now you're out. Say you're in the Maldives somewhere.
I feel like you're lying to me, because when I take your phone, that is not the first thing you tell me. The first thing, what do you tell me every time I
Clean your phone. I'm even cleaning my phone here. So that, by far, yes, that is so frustrating. You can always tell if you hand your phone to somebody, if you're on vacation and you want a family photo and you hand them the phone, if they do this, you know you got somebody good. Because the first thing I always notice the minute I grab somebody's phone is I clean the camera. Why? Because it's in your pocket. The kids probably had it. They're touching it all here. You're probably touching it this whole way. You trying to grab some drinks and you're holding it this way. And now you look at it. I don't know if you can zoom in here, but it's all smudged. And that's going to affect the image of your photo and your video like no tomorrow. And you notice that if you're watching YouTube and people use their phone for everything, you'll notice between the clips like, man, that's really cloudy, but that looks really clean.
Mm-hmm.
It's because before every shot, they're not making sure it's clean. That's why. So again, the first things you do before you take an image, just clean off the camera. Please clean it
he
off.
yelled at me, babe, did you clean the camera?
Did you clean it? Because again,
like,
that will affect even the way you edit the photo. Because again, you may try to edit it and it's just not working.
And
It's like,
I know that because I'll say, but I took this picture. And he's like, I know.
I could tell.
I
I
could
could
tell.
tell. It looks like it's cloudy. It looks like it's raining. It's like we're in the rainforest because it's so cloudy, but yet we're on the beach and it shouldn't be So that's the first thing. So that's the first thing you want to do. Now, if you're out in the field, if you're out on vacation, say you're in Maldives, say you're in Puerto Rico. Let's just use Puerto Rico. You're in Puerto Rico, you're walking down Old San Juan, you see these beautiful buildings. I want to take a picture of that. Again, just remember before you go in, what platform am I on? I'm on Facebook. If I ever want to print this, I can always use that as well. So what you want to do is grab your phone, in your settings on your phone, on your iPhone. I'm just going to use iPhone for this case here. You just want to take it in the highest quality. You don't want low image. You don't want your phone to downgrade the image of your photos. You want it in the highest quality. I'm only talking photos now. The highest quality possible. That's what you want to take.
So what's the highest quality?
The highest quality. That's a good question. Let's see. The highest quality on an iPhone. Let's see here. It go to camera, and then in your photo capture, let's go.
And you could put a screenshot of this up, like, so you
Yeah,
can see it.
I'm actually going to record this so you could take a look at it right now, because I want you guys to be able to see this. So basically I'm in my camera right now. And as you can see here, you can see all the settings that I have my camera set to. So for instance, I'll start from the top just to make it easier. So when I'm recording video, I'm in 4K 30. Recording slow-mo is at 1080, 240 frames per second. You could also change that. But again, I recommend 240 frames per second because it does record in a high efficiency. It makes the file much smaller as well too. Cinematic 4K 30. Your record sound, you want it in stereo, and I could get into stereo. I could get into recording everything later on. But this is one thing that I also love, the fact that what iPhones are doing now, and it's something called photographic styles. And we use vibrant. I like a vibrant format starting off with images because it's not,
and that's
as
just the way the photo is going to look.
yes,
right?
because what Apple does, they apply a certain itty bitty preset to your photos, and again, once it's compensating for everything else, because these phones are advanced, so they apply that to your image immediately. So there's not really much that you have to do to it unless you have a particular style. Like we have a particular style we like for our images, and I know Brizette gets very mad because she's like, I can't just post it. I know you have to touch it up.
Oh God.
I do. I'm sorry. I just
yes,
do.
you do.
So
I'm
that's
like, can I post this? No. Send it to me. I gotta fix it.
So as you can see, my photographic style, we have it as vibrant because we just like showing the vibrant portion. The other thing that I would say is the main camera. So you can see here it's at 28 millimeter and 35 millimeter. I love using a 28 or 35 because it just gives a better view, a better look to the images. So I always have that checked on. So really what I'm talking about here when it comes down to the type of files that you have for your photo, as long as you just set everything in the highest format, outside of recording video in 4K 60, I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay, so just tell me the three or how many basic things.
Basic thing, video 4K 30.
Okay.
That's one. Slow-mo, if you're doing that, 1080, 240. And the last thing that I would say is your photographic style. Just pick one that you like. If you like vibrant, keep with vibrant because it's going to save you a lot of headache later. Okay. So now you take out your phone, you're taking the image. The next thing that you want to do is make sure that you're taking the image using the grids. Okay. So the grids, as you can see here, I have my grids on. So I'm actually going to like input this because it's still recording. You can see everything that's happening here. And there we go, present. So we have something called the rule of thirds. So your image itself is cut into 9 boxes. There's 3 across the top, 3 across the bottom, 3 across the middle, 3 across the bottom. When you're taking the image itself, you just want to move whoever you're taking a picture of between accents points, either to the left or to the right, in the middle. So for instance, I'm just going to use this for illustration here. Say if you have it here and it's cut in the middle right here. So you want to take the photo. If you see that rectangle, you want to take it over here, or you want to take it over here. Leave all this open right here. So because when you're naturally looking at the image itself, it's like there's something different about it, rather than having the person dead smack in the middle. Because if it's dead smack in the middle, it's a dead giveaway. The person doesn't know how to take images, but it automatically boosts like whatever you take. It makes you think about what you're taking. So
and I know you'll insert some photos that we've
yes.
taken.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll
where
insert
you
that.
use that 3 that three-third rule. Is that
That
what it's called?
rule of thirds.
Rule of thirds.
Rule of thirds.
So when we do that, and I know you even tell me about that too. You're
Yeah.
always like, "Hey, babe,
Just shift it over a little bit. Yeah.
and it does. It changes
It
the
changes
way,
completely.
like the photo looks. It looks really nice. I'm looking at one right now on our wall of Carter. I'm like, and I'm as you're speaking, I'm like, oh
Now
yeah,
you can
we
see
did
it.
Yeah.
So instead of having it, again, your subject or the thing that you're taking a picture of on vacation directly in the middle, just move it over to the side. Like look at everything as a third. Like you have a pizza, you cut it in 3 places. You just want to move it in the middle of 2 of those 3. And it automatically will draw your eye to it, and it just looks so much better from there. So that's the first thing. Even when you're taking pictures of like your kids and they're running around, instead of just taking it, hey, look here, move it over just a little bit. So you get a little bit of the background on what's going on, but you get them just a little bit off center because it looks like a better picture. So that's automatically going to enhance your images, the way you look at them with the color, and also what they call, that is called composition.
Okay. All right. So now I'm good with the iPhone. I'm good there.
Wait, video.
Okay.
Don't forget video.
Oh, video.
So
yeah.
that was
Tell me
photo.
about-
Video, and I mentioned 4K 30. So 4K 30 or 4K, like all TVs right now, they're mostly in 4K. 4K 30 will give you, especially on the iPhone, give you the most space so you can record things. And it's going to give you the best quality. So you don't need to go 60. And 60, what I mean is frames per second. So the camera itself is taking 60 images per second. You don't need that many, because if you wanted to slow it down later, say, for instance, you're looking at something online and it's going across and you can see that person kind of walking across the beach, and you slow it down in your editing program, that's when 60 frames per second comes in, because you could slow it down and it doesn't look like it's jumpy. Okay. So 4K 30 with everyday use, it is absolutely perfect. You're going to have a ton of space on your phone. You don't have to worry about anything like that. So always keep it in that. And when you're taking the video, just make sure it's set to that. I do not recommend 1080p on your phone, especially with these newer phones. I do not recommend that. Do not put it in that. Even if you run out of space, just clear out stuff on your phone and always shoot in 4K, because later on you're going to regret it when you edit it and you put it on a large screen. Like, I look better in my phone. It doesn't look as good when it's on a large screen. It doesn't look as good when I make it widescreen and I'm looking at a bigger image on my phone. If I'm turning my phone this way, I was like, look, kind of looks grainy. That's why you want it in 4K.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So you mentioned something about space on your phone. Where do I store? Like I
Oh
have,
my
because
gosh.
I am bad at that.
Yeah.
I have like 8,000 photos of the kids on my phone, and I'm always scared to delete them. But where do I save them?
All right. So I mentioned this in one of our other episodes, Google Photos. I'm a big fan of Google Photos because why? And I know a lot of people may not like Google Photos, and I understand they might like iCloud. You could use iCloud as well, but I recommend Google Photos. The reason why, it automatically backs up your images that you take on your phone and videos you take on your phone. It may back up a smaller portion or a smaller size of the video, but I've even used those videos later on when I needed a video, when I needed to edit something. I could just pull them down from Google Photos Cloud, and it all works within your drive as well. So if you have drive space, your Google Photos take a much smaller footprint to whatever the Google Drive like environment that you work in. For instance, like for the company, for La Pointe Life, we have like 2 terabytes. And I cannot fill up 2 terabytes right now with the images that we take and the videos that we take based on our phone, because it just saves it in a smaller format. And once you download it to your phone, it's easier. You could manipulate it a lot more.
Now, is it hard to download from Google Drive?
Not at all. Not at all. So it's literally just a app that you have. You could go in there. It does facial recognition. It does geotagging. So you could just say Brizette, Puerto Rico, or Brizette, Thailand, and it'll pull up all the photos that it recognizes your face in Thailand, and you could search for something fast. So that actually helps out too when the kids are like, I need a photo for Thailand for my class, and I'm like, Carter, Thailand, and I can just pull up the images, which one you want, rather than saying what hard drive is that on?
Yeah,
or where is that at? Where do we take that? And it'll actually sort it by year too. So if you know
nice.
you went on a vacation in 2000 or before the pandemic, you could search things before the pandemic, like okay, February of 2020. We already know where we went. February 2020, it was the cruise, right? The Disney cruise. I automatically know I can find Disney cruise. September. Sorry. I can find the Disney cruise September 2019. I can just pull it up. There it is. That's just the way it works. So Google Photos. And also once it's backed up, it'll let you know the files are backed up and you could delete it off your phone. You're fine. So it keeps your phone kind of safe from there.
Okay. So now I see everybody walking around with a GoPro.
Ooh, yes.
A GoPro. Like what is the GoPro really good for?
Okay,
Like,
so
because
yes,
I
that's a
know
good
like
question.
there's times you'll pull out the phone
Hmm.
and then I'll see times you pull out a GoPro
Yes,
and you won't use them for both.
I won't.
Like, so what do you use the GoPro for?
So GoPro is anytime we go somewhere and I know there's going to be a water activity.
Okay.
All right. So your phone, yes, you could get one of those little bags that you zip your phone in. I found using those, there's always a fog issue and you can never get it right once it's in. If it gets a little water in it,
So
it
you
just
don't
doesn't work.
recommend that bag
I
if
don't
people work.
recommend that. If you don't have a GoPro, that is a good option though.
Okay.
If you want to get some water activities with the kids underwater, that's perfect. Just get a really good one that you can see really good. But anytime I know we're going somewhere where there's any water activity involved, I use a GoPro because the GoPro is already sealed. I'm still going to get a really crisp, clear 4K image out of it. And also I could do slow-mo in there too, especially like if it's a wave coming and the kids are like, body surfing or something like that, I could always get that. If I want to go, we're going scuba diving or if we're going snorkeling or if we're doing anything on a boat, jet skis, the GoPro is worth it. And I also recommend if you do get a GoPro, just to make sure that you get a floating stick for it. A lot of times you may just get the telescopic one and that's what you're using, but it doesn't float. You want to get one that floats because if you're in the water, you may drop it
Or
and
give
then
it to your kids.
or give it to your kids. You can automatic and get one that has a color. We have a yellow one. We have a yellow one and an orange one. So if it floats, if it's bobbing up in the middle of the ocean, you can kind of like just gaze real quick. Oh, there it is right there. Jump in and get it and retrieve it from there.
And you'll put a picture of.
And I could put a picture up of
Okay.
the one we have. Yeah.
I did notice that when we were in Thailand, you used the GoPro while we were out in the streets, but then you realized there was a problem with that. And what was wrong with the GoPro as far as the footage you got from it from when we were walking around the streets using the GoPro?
Oh, okay. So that wasn't a GoPro. That was something else. That was one of the Ace pocket cameras. Not pocket cameras. This is one of the Ace cameras, and I am not a fan of those cameras. They just did not look good. It didn't look good at all. In addition to that, I noticed like the sound quality wasn't that great. Now, the one thing that you have to make sure that you notice in a GoPro, you may not get a lot of action, like as far as like talking, because once water gets into it, at times it may clog it, and then you hear it clear, 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 and then it sounds like you're underwater. That's just how it is. So one recommendation that I have, like when you come out of the water with a GoPro, shake it out a little bit and then start talking because you got to just clear out the microphone channels just to make sure you can hear everything. Sometimes we forget that, and we always have to put in the video like, GoPro took on a little bit of water, we forgot to shake it out, and this is why you can't hear it. So the minute you go under, you come back up, shake it out really quick, and then you can continue on like
That's
if
a good
somebody's
tip.
doing something.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was one thing I noticed when we were in Thailand and also when we were in Orlando, that Ace Pro, in my opinion, I know I got some comments on one of my videos I put up. People were swearing by it, but I noticed like a GoPro is so much better. The other thing that you may want to consider, like when you're using a GoPro or the Ace Pro, it's not that great at night. It's really great during the day. It's beautiful. It's beautiful on the beach on a hot sunny day. It's beautiful in the mountains skiing when it's a lot of bright light, but it's not as great when the light drops. It's not good at all.
So would you recommend I just take my phone out at that time?
Yes. And we had a side-by-side comparison when we were I forgot where we were.
I think we were in Orlando.
In Orlando, and we were in a dark airsoft location or gel kind of like gallery where they were shooting gel beads. And we had an iPhone and we had the Ace Pro. The iPhone's image was like 110 times better than the Ace Pro's footage. And even that was even on low light mode.
And you could put a side by side.
Yeah, I could put it side by side there. So I definitely recommend just using your iPhone.
So do you even recommend the Ace Pro?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not. And I know I'm gonna get some flack for that, but I just don't think it's worth.
And
it's
that's
not
the one
worth
you
it.
sent back too,
I
right?
did send it back. I
Yeah.
did send it back. And I was all about trying to have the front facing screen. It just wasn't that. No, for people who are just starting off, I do not recommend that because you're better off just going with your phone, sticking with your phone.
Okay.
Just use your phone.
All right, now I'm gone from the GoPro to like the one that you really like.
Oh yes, the Osmo DJI Osmo Mobile, and I'll link this in the description. With one of the links that we have. This by far changes everything.
And this is not sponsored.
This is not sponsored. This is actually our wide shot here that you see. We just use it because it's so convenient. But this is what we take when we travel. This is most of the videos that we place on TikTok is done with this. The most of the videos that you see of us, exploring different things in different cities, this is with this because it's so convenient. And the image quality that comes out of it at 4K 30 is insane.
But you also use this for your company as well.
Yes, I do. So
like when you're doing behind the scenes.
All my behind the scenes, because it uses facial track or just image tracking. So it will track you, or it uses microphones, Bluetooth microphones that you could just lock on you and it picks up the sound. This is actually, we have our backup audio here. With the DJI microphone, which is, again, that combination is sick. But for somebody starting off, it's perfect. Like, say, for instance, if I wasn't doing any of this and you just had it, I would definitely recommend that to you, because even offloading like your footage is like the easiest thing. You just plug it in, your computer recognizes it, you move the footage from the camera to your computer in your editing program. And the files are so small. So, for instance, like these big cameras may use memory cards that this whole file may be 30 something gigabytes, whereas you have the same length of video on this and it may be like 5 gigabytes.
And you can also flip it from vertical to horizontal.
To vertical to horizontal. That's by far the best part. So remember, again, you're out. You're trying to remember, where am I at? Where am I going to put most of this stuff? If it's vertical, if it's like TikTok, you just open it up to a vertical format. And it automatically will crop it out for you. Automatically in vertical. It's filming there. You don't have to do anything later. You already have the videos in that format. So all of our food videos that we do, we just use the vertical format. It just makes more sense because we're more...
And it's so clear.
And it's so clear.
Yeah, it's like one of your fancy cameras that you have.
Yes.
Without having
so
to bring
crazy,
out the fancy camera.
Without bringing up the fancy camera. It's so discreet, because sometimes we run into it where we have to ask, like, hey, is it all right if we film here? Or I'll ask, is it okay if I put the camera here? Or if you're sitting at a table, you're doing a little review, you don't want it to have like this big camera like sitting here with a big microphone
or your
and such.
phone.
Or your phone.
Yeah,
you're trying to do this and hold this and do that. It just doesn't work out. But this, again, even if you get up and walk away, it'll track you and such like that. So I think this is really good for beginners. It's just what you do with the files after. That's it.
But you recommend this to people who are not even beginners, though.
Nope.
You've had a lot of people ask you about, like, what are you using?
Yeah, what are you using? Yeah.
And you've recommended this product to
so many people.
You guys can sponsor us if you want to.
I know. Come on, DJI. Hey, I got you guys everywhere. Like, let's go. Let's go. But I this one, I was told about it by a really good friend of mine, videographer, and he swore by it. And I usually take his word for a lot of things because he's the OG. But when I got this and I put it up and I saw it, I was like, this makes no sense.
You were mad that we didn't have this in Thailand.
I was very mad. Yeah, because we met, you said Thailand, but it was the GoPro we used in Thailand. I was so mad that we didn't have this.
Because some of the video came out horrible.
It was horrible.
And we were like, we can't even post this anywhere.
No, we couldn't post it.
And
we have hard drives full of it. We can't post it because it doesn't look right.
It's so cloudy and no one wants to watch that.
Nope.
Okay, so now I moved on from the DJI. Now, can that also take pictures, or is it
Yes, it does take photos too.
How do you like the photo quality?
The photo quality is really good. It's a little different because just the way you're holding it, I've noticed, like, even with the kids, they are looking, but they don't know, like, they don't see me pressing anything because you're holding the little button, so they think it's video and they keep moving around. But the image quality is really good. Okay. It is really good. I would say that GoPros have really good image quality too. But for the most part, if you don't have like a camera, like a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, your iPhone takes really good photos.
Now, I can't use this in the water, though.
No.
Correct? Okay.
It does not go in the water.
Yes, there are
cages.
Say, can I take this one product and just switch it for every...
At any time, anytime vacationing, I would recommend, it's only 2 things I could bring, it would be this Osmo mobile and a GoPro.
Okay.
And now if I'm not doing any water activities, I'm nothing to do with water, I would just take the Osmo and my regular camera, DSLR, because then I could kind of get a little bit more into like the photos. I could take a little bit more in-depth photos. I still have my iPhone, but I'll still take a little bit more in-depth photos that way too.
Okay, now I've graduated. I'm moving on up in the world.
Gosh, here we go.
I am moving on up, and I want a big fancy camera. And I see everybody. It's funny, and I have to tell you about this. If you ever get Jason on vacation or you ever are out and you see Jason, he will take your family photo in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But he'll get the camera and he's like, oh, let me adjust these settings because what do you have it on? You know. So he's good too. If you ever see him, it's so funny. We were in Thailand and this family, they were standing on top of that bridge and they were like, can you take our family photo? And he's like posing them. You would think it was like an eat session. Like it was crazy. And I'm like, babe, let's go.
We got to get back on our vacation. So So all right. So recommendation for camera. I'm a Canon guy. I've been Canon for a long time. Sony's are great. Canon is great. I don't really mess with Nikon
Not
at all.
sponsored by Canon
Not
either.
sponsored by Canon
You
either.
want to sponsor us? Let's go.
Let's go if you do. But I would recommend a Canon. There's many entry level Canons you could get. I'm not too familiar with exactly the entry level brand is now because by the time you watch this video, it could be something completely different. For me, we use the mirrorless line starting from the Canon R up to a R5. Now the R5 is a little bit more expensive because you have to buy lenses and such like that. But I think if you start like with the R, if you want a good camera, you can start with the R line. You can find one used.
Wait, but I will say you did recommend this to people first.
Yes.
Is going to what's the company that you can rent lenses and cameras?
Aperture Rent. So we have Aperture
And
Rent
play
here
around with
and
them.
play around with them. That is the biggest tip I would have. If you're in Atlanta area, Dallas, or
New
I forgot
York?
where else, Adorama's in New York, you can rent that. Just find a rental house, not a movie rental house. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a consumer rental house. Adorama, Aperture Rent, and there's some other ones sprinkled up throughout the country. Find it there first, rent the camera first before you drop an investment. Because again, when you get into like the DSLR bodies and the mirrorless bodies, then you have to figure out what lens you're going to use. And the biggest misconception, like a lot of people do, and I have to correct people constantly on this one, it is not the camera. It is not the camera, it's the lens. Because if you look at it, in most cases, sometimes the lens costs more than the camera. It's your glass. You're going to hear people say, what are you using? Oh, what camera is that? Ask them what glass are they using, what lens, because those lenses would make or break a camera. I'm sorry. You could get the cheapest camera, have one of the best lenses. Once you figure out the settings, you cannot tell the difference between the two unless you're blowing up a super huge print. And you're like, I could tell the difference between that. But for average, if you're just on vacation, you're taking photos of your family, you're out and about, if you have a lower level camera, but a really good lens, it is like night and day. It's night and day.
And and like you said, you recommend just renting one first.
Renting one first.
And you can rent them all the time.
You can rent them all the time,
which is nice.
Correct. And then also, once you rent them, if you really like one, find it used.
Yeah.
Find it used.
But make sure you go to a good place. Like
Correct.
we usually go to New York and we go to
B&H.
B&H.
I recommend B&H and Adorama. I recommend B&H more than Adorama, but I recommend the two.
And they'll mail them to you
And they'll mail them to you. And they also put, I believe B&H puts a warranty on it as well, too.
Because
like
I know
30
when
or
you
60
got them, they
days.
actually take them apart and clean them,
Yes.
which is
good.
So don't just buy it off of Craigslist because
especially
you
if
don't know
you're
what you're
dropping
gonna
that
get
much,
it.
you're not going to know what you get. And also another
it could
tip,
be scratched or anything.
Yeah.
You don't put a lens on it. I mean, the cap on and stuff like that.
It's not right. Another tip too, if you do buy one used, if you buy one used and you get it, and say if it's a little wiggly, because they rate it on like, from A minus, A plus all the way to like, I think like a Z. A Z is like the lowest score it could get. And Z is usually like brashing. They call it brashing or hazing on the lens. Maybe they left it in a garage and it got moisture in it, and you don't want to go that route. But if you get like somewhere mid-level or near the bottom and it's saying, hey, it has like cosmetic damage, like scratches outside of the lens, that's not affecting it. As long as it doesn't affect like the lens itself, you could then take that lens and take it to a repair shop, a camera repair shop. For instance, we have Peach Camera Repair here. Take that same lens, pay for them to do a overhaul of the lens, which is so much cheaper than buying a new lens. And they literally will tighten everything up. They'll replace the things that they need. They'll clean the lens inside and out, and it's a reputable location. And now you have a brand new lens, literally like a brand new lens, super clean, factory service from a repair shop. And now you pay like a fraction of the cost for it.
But you even tell photographers to do that every so often,
Obviously,
to just get your lenses clean, make sure, because it'll save you money in the long run. Correct?
Absolutely correct. And for now, we're talking about consumers, like when they first get their camera. Say if you get your camera from Costco or wherever, and it comes with like the whole kit, comes with a little bag. You got the bag. You're all happy about the bag. It says Canon on the outside, Nikon on the outside. That's all good. But start considering like what are you going to be doing it for? Like, are you taking family photos only? Then it's good to have that little bag that it comes with, because you can kind of fit everything inside there. You can fit all the lenses that you need to fit. That's good. However, if you're doing traveling, I would definitely recommend, let me see if I can grab it. I would definitely recommend like getting a bag. So like this is my travel bag here. And I use this on weddings and shoots and stuff like that as well too. But again, I put all my lenses, my camera bodies inside here as much as I could fit. I don't pack it up to a point where it's like over spewing, and if I drop it, like things will get damaged. No, just what you need, because this is small enough to fit exactly what you need. Just make sure that it has padding on the inside, and you would custom make the padding itself. So again, it has padding on the inside. It's similar to like you having like a Pelican case or something like that.
Can you
But
show them like how it looks
let me
like?
see. I'll see if I could focus in here. So again, it has padding on the inside of it. So I would definitely recommend one of these travel bags. Again, I just make sure we put our logo on this. But this is the Brevite, and I have a. I can link a video. Get that out. I can link a video on it when I did that, showing how much you can actually fit in there. But that is
Oh yeah,
key.
you did do that. No, I said you did do that. And also, I would just say one thing too, that someone when they're traveling, to having a camera bag versus having that Canon,
Yeah,
you're putting yourself out there to get
right out
robbed.
there. Yeah.
Like someone's like, oh, they got a camera. With the bag, they don't know if you have a camera or if it's just one of your book bags. That
Correct.
You know,
Yeah, because
carrying stuff.
it's this one. That's why I like this one. It's like it's nice and discreet. It's nice and small. It's something that stay really close to you. You can kind of feel if something else is going on back there. Somebody's trying to just kind of get into it. And also has a way you can put locks on it too. So that's why I like it.
And you'll link a video, some like in one
Yeah,
of these corners,
I don't
like
know where I'm gonna link it.
up here, somewhere.
Somewhere we'll put it, but that's what I recommend. But the biggest thing is just making sure that you're not just abusing your equipment, especially when you get to the level like you're past phones and now you're on camera equipment. Don't abuse it. Just don't throw it in the corner, and when you're ready to take photos, then you're trying to dust it off. Like, really just store it. And the biggest thing, like I think I mentioned it from before, do not store it in the garage, because the garage, depending on where you're at in the nation, the garage just has a tendency to, if you park a wet car in there, it's going to keep that humidity in there once the door is closed. And what happens to lenses, if they get moisture inside the lens, it then starts to grow mold inside there. And once you get mold in a lens, it's pretty much just writing it off at that point, because you could get it cleaned out, but there's a possibility some spores are still inside there and it's going to come right back and it just clouds the lens and kind of destroys it all from there. And electronics itself as well. You have a camera in there. It's an electronic device. Just don't keep it in the garage. Like, keep it somewhere nice and dry.
And even if you maybe in a basement, do like a dehumidifier or something?
Yes, absolutely correct. You want to put that there too.
Okay. And I would say, like, what is the basic setting I should put my camera on if I have this Big Daddy?
Okay.
I know you could do a whole nother video on that, but just like give me basic, like what I should put it on, because I know every time you pick up someone's camera, you always changing the settings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or you get frustrated when people on
auto.
On auto.
Yeah. All right. So if you are not one to watch any video, so you have no idea on how to work this camera, put it in auto. And the reason why I'm saying put it in auto is because you're there trying to take a family photo, or you're trying to take an image of something that you see that you believe is beautiful. The last thing you want to do is throw a wrench in the plan by trying to figure out what settings, and it comes out dark, and then you're discouraged. You don't want to take any more photos. Just put it in auto. You're fine. Canon had something, I'm not too sure if they still have it on some of the older models. They had the green box. If you use the green box setting, not the manual setting, not the A setting, not the M setting, not the P setting, it's a green box. That green box, you put it on there, you usually can take any photo from there. If you don't have the green box, just put it in auto. Now, the other thing that I would recommend is to shoot in RAW. If your camera has the opportunity or has the capability to shoot in RAW, and pretty much what RAW is.
I know, I was going to say,
I know. RAW, there's a JPEG. A JPEG or just a regular image is what you usually would get from your iPhone. You take an image, it's in a JPEG format. It's nice and small. It's compatible with everything. You can take that image, you can put it on your TV, you can upload it to Facebook, you can do all kind of stuff to it. Instagram, everything. But when you shoot in RAW, it's the equivalent of you baking. You can have a box cake where you have all the ingredients in there. You'll have to do is add some eggs, some oil, maybe some water. Everything is in there already.
If you don't add water, it's going to be dry cake.
It's going to be dry cake. So that's your JPEG. It's pretty much done for you. You just have to add a little bit of things. Pretty much you have to turn the camera on, point it, focus it, and it's good. That's your box cake.
Okay.
Shooting in RAW is taking the recipe from beginning, and you are adding your flour, your sugar, you're adding all the ingredients, and you have control of all those ingredients. That's the big difference. A lot of people try to figure out, I don't understand what I should shoot in. Should I do both? Just if you could shoot in RAW, because later on, if you're shooting in auto, you can manipulate everything later. So that's one of the biggest tips that I
Manipulate
have.
mean like I could change the color
You could
and
change the color. You could really dial it in, meaning you could adjust your saturation, your contrast, your exposure, whether it was too bright or was too dark. Because auto has a tendency to make things a little bit dark.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was about to say for a beginner, I feel like I would just be more comfortable in
In
auto.
auto, so for the most part, your image will be great. But if you want to just add a little tweak to it,
Once you learn the
once you
camera.
learn the camera, yeah, and you're taking it into a different editing program, and that's what you're doing
I
from
feel like
there.
you need to do a video just on like the settings and just
Yeah,
that because
because there's a
it's
lot that,
intimidating. Like
yeah,
even when I'm holding the camera and you already set it, you're like, babe, just press the button. You
yep,
know, I'm always like, is it gonna come out nice? You
I
know,
know.
and I do try to follow the rule of thirds when I'm doing that. Even with that camera, I should do the same thing, correct?
Correct. Absolutely
And
correct. Yeah, you definitely want to do that because you'll notice that and you could set the grids, especially if it's like a mirrorless camera, because the joy of a mirrorless camera is like once you put your eye to like the eyepiece as far as like looking at it, you could see the image of what you're actually gonna get when you hit the shutter. So it's electric viewfinder. So you can actually see it. You can manipulate all the stuff that you need to manipulate if you need to do that in that eyepiece. So it
now,
makes it great.
do I have to like when you hold the camera? Do I need to when I press it? Do I have to wait a second, or can I just move it?
No, 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 no. You
Okay.
want to wait a second, especially in auto.
Okay.
So why a lot of people, especially when you become like a seasoned photographer and such, and they say, "Oh, don't use auto. You're letting the camera pick, your settings for you. That's horrible." But the camera's making assessments or picking the settings based off what it believes that it sees through sensors. So if we're in this room and I'm using auto pointed at you, it knows it's getting light. It knows you're not moving. It's still, it's going to take a really great image. But if you're outside and you're shifting back and forth and you're trying to chase a kid that's moving really fast, auto may not know how to compensate for the light coming in this way, but now it's this way, and this kid is super fast. It's trying to track the kid. It may take a super fast photo and forget about the light portion. It tries to do it very fast, but it just may not catch it. So you may have the kid focused, but it's super dark because it didn't have the opportunity by the time you hit it to expose for the sun that's coming in, that's tucking behind the clouds, and then it's out, but then it's not. There's all these different things that it's trying to do at the split of a dime. Now, it's really good that it can do that, but that's where if you have it, hold it, take the photo, and then move it. Just don't take it and move away because it's going to come out blurry, especially if it's dark. So when it's dark, the camera itself takes a longer time, especially in auto, to take the image because it wants to make sure it can pull in as much light in when it opens up. Because it's dark, I need to soak up as much light as I possibly can with this person that's standing here. So the minute you do this, that person that's standing there, they're still there, it's still focused on them, but now it's super blurry based off
Gotcha.
that.
So
Yeah.
would you recommend if I'm not really good at the camera to just bring my phone out at night
Yes.
and just
Yeah.
use my phone
And
instead of
yeah,
trying?
yes, I absolutely recommend that. But you may notice that too because you take an image at night and like you take it and it's like the phones take so long and it's like what is it doing? It's doing the same thing. So the same way you have to hold your phone when you're taking an image and it's like if the flash doesn't go off, it takes a long time for it to take. It's the same thing the camera's doing. But in this case here, you can actually see what it's doing because it's like having like a little fade effect. And that's why I believe that iPhone or Apple did that in that way. So it makes you realize like it's processing. Even though it can really just take the image really fast, but it's showing you that screen because it's processing.
I've seen that before.
Yeah, and you're
a
like,
little,
what the world is it
yeah.
doing? It's like, no, don't move it because then you're gonna complain. This iPhone's horrible. It takes horrible images. No, that fade is
You
showing
just need to wait.
processing. Yeah, but the camera will not do that.
Oh,
It
okay.
would just probably have like a little spinning wheel, or it would take the image, but it'll take a while to pop up. You just think something's wrong, but it's actually processing with the black screen.
So at nighttime, again, at night, I should just don't worry about bringing the clunky camera out.
Yeah, we could get into that later.
No, I'm just saying,
but for
but
the most part,
probably
use your phone.
use your phone.
Especially if you're a beginner, you're out, you're in another country, you're in another city, you're on vacation. Just grab your phone, because what will happen also with most entry level cameras, they have a flash on top of that. It's good. Yeah, I mean, if you need to use it, but that flash is so harsh. You could automatically tell was the image that a person thought about it versus they just put it on auto, because that flash is like high intensity. So everybody's like, and they just like super blown out at that point. Again, if you shoot in RAW, you could then take it in an editing program later and manipulate that if that's the way you're going. But if you're brand new, you can easily tell like this image is great, but I can't even see the lights in the background. It said there was the bridge we were standing in front of. We can't see it because the flash is like, we are here to take the photo. Think about the camera. They have one job and one job only, take a photo. I don't care about what's behind you. I just need to focus the subject in front of me. So if I need to blast this flash at this person, I'm going to capture that person. Wherever you point me to, that's what I'm there to do. It's not there to think about what's happening in the background. It's not there to think about, oh, there's a man on this side. I really want an artistic image. It's not there to do that. It's there to focus on what you focus on and take a picture of what you take a picture of. That's it. That's all it's there to do.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now I will say, what about with the one that you really like, the
Osmo?
Osmo? Is that good for me to bring out at night?
Yes, that's really good to use at night. There is a low light mode on that one as well. And I've used that at night before. But if you have no source of light whatsoever, any video camera that you bring out at one point given time, like wherever you look at it, however you shake it down, it's going to have like the image quality is going to start degrading because again, video cameras need light. They just need light. They could compensate as much as they possibly can, but at one point it's just going to get grainy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know you also have that little flash that sometimes you'll bring with you.
Yeah.
Wherever we're recording, you put like a little flash just to have like one last thing that you always are getting on me about. One last thing.
Man,
see,
why am I getting on you
it's
so
hard to be married to someone who is a photographer or videographer. It's like,
I'm
oh my
sorry.
God, can I just take a picture?
I'm so sorry.
Seriously. Holding my hand up and finding light.
Oh
Can you
my
tell them
goodness.
about
Yes.
that?
Yeah. So I
I still
explain
have a
this to
hard time
everybody.
with this, though.
I explain this to everybody. And this is the easiest way. So let me back up just a little bit, like with video at night. Wherever you're at, if you're taking an image of someone or you're taking video of somebody, just chase the light. Look for the light. There's street lights, there's storefronts, there's if a car is parked, just use their light. You could use it. Just don't try to just be in the middle of an alley somewhere super dark and you're trying to take a video. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. You can even take, if you have the Osmo or video or your camera, just turn the light on your iPhone and just hold that up and then start the video that way. It just needs some type of light so it can focus right and can kind of like make the image that way. But the biggest thing that you could do if you're out, you're laughing.
Because he always gets on to me about this.
And like this, I get a lot of people this way where they want to take selfies or they want to take a video of talking about their experience at a restaurant. The first thing they do is turn their back to the light. So look at where, I don't know which camera we're going to use. So the lights right here, they're here and they're there. So if I'm holding my light and my hand out right now, I'm lit. But if I was to turn around from that, if I was to turn this way and you're shooting me this way, there's no light over here. There's no light. So automatically you're going to see like you need to face a light source. That's why they always say like if you have a video camera and you're doing like talking head videos, like put your desk or put your camera in front of a window. So ideally, if we didn't have any lights here, Brissette and I will be facing the window with the window open. You guys wouldn't see the window open because the camera will be facing this way, but there's light hitting us this way. So just in the same thing here, we created two lights here to create a light source this way. The easiest way for you to tell if you're outside before you take a photo of anybody on your phone is say, hey, can you take a photo of me this way? And they'll be like, okay, fine. Just look at your hand. If you look at your hand and if it's dark on this side, you can't take a photo this way. So you will have to turn this way. Now you can take the photo that way because the light is here. It's the easiest way to look at it. If your hand looks dark, if it's have a shadow, you need to face the light. So you need to turn around.
You always tell me to do this, like.
Correct. So like if you're looking at it right now, if you're looking, it's dark.
Yes.
Now, if you were to turn around that way towards the light, keep coming around this way. No, like if you turn, say if you're looking this way, but if you were to turn this way, how's your hand?
Oh, it's lit.
It's lit. So that's the easiest way. So that's the best way to figure out where I need to take the picture for the sun. Where is the sun at? If you're looking up, the sun is over me. Oh yeah, it's over me. But you look at this way and there's so much shadow. Just keep moving your hand around till you feel, oh, that's a good way. Then you need to point the camera this way. So the people need to look at you this way. I know it's kind of confusing, right? Oh no.
No, like once you told me to turn it this way, because I was looking at it this way because the light is here.
It's like, yeah.
But it's dark.
Yeah.
But if I'm like this, now it's light. Now
Correct.
I get it.
Yeah.
This light bulb went off.
Ding dong.
Seriously, I've learned a lot from you, like, because you take the photos.
Hmm.
So I don't really have to worry about that so much, you
Mhm.
know, but for someone who doesn't have you with them all the time,
Oh man.
like people love going on vacations with us when Jason comes because it's like, oh, I know I'm going to get some great photos.
Oh gosh.
But for people who don't have a Jason going with them, this was really good because
Mhm.
it told me, you know, just with the iPhone, if I want to use the iPhone or if I want to get a little bit more advanced, what I need to do or what I need to get.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate this.
Yeah. Look at that.
If you guys want any more videos like this where Jason's telling you about cameras or microphones or whatever, just
we
leave a
didn't even
link.
get into microphones.
We didn't even get to microphones. So just leave a comment and just let us know, like, what do you want him to focus on? Because he knows everything. Like, and if
I
he
don't
doesn't
know
know it,
everything.
he
I just
will
know enough
research
of a
it
little
and
bit.
find out about it for you.
Mhm.
He's even made camera lists up for people. You know, they
Yeah.
send him a link. He sends him a little request. And he'll send you a link and you can make a camera request. You know, it's like, what do you need to order?
Yeah.
So he's really good at that.
Hey, I try.
He
I
tries.
try.
But yeah, thanks for watching us. And, you know, I learned a lot. So I hope you learned a lot too because, wow, I always ask these questions, but I never really listen.
Oh
So-
my gosh. So you guys make sure you like, subscribe, and you know, hit the notification bell so you can be notified if we make more videos just like this or we just drop new content. So and whatever the boys have us doing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep saying that because every day
It's
Carter
all about
comes home.
them. And it's like, oh, Jesus, what are we going to get
What
into?
are we gonna do now? Or he's telling us, showing us video. We need to do a video like this. I'm like, a video like what?
A video like what? He's like, well, they made some rockets and they did
Yeah.
this and that. There's been so many times we've gone out in the backyard and Jason's like cutting something apart because
Yeah.
that's what they wanted to do.
That's what they want to do.
So, all right. Well,
right, guys.
thanks.
Till next time.
Subscribe, like the channel, send to someone who you know is trying to become a photographer or they just want to take some good family photos or they just want to go on vacation and have some good photos.